third-party APIs. One API that I enjoy a lot playing around with is omdb, the omdb API. They recently went paywall. I used to use this API for free for several years. They've served me well, so I've become a patron now. It's $1 a month, so that's fine. They've done a really good job, so I'm supporting them. I don't necessarily suggest that you use an API for which you have to pay for. Right? There's tons of free APIs out there with data, but I've become fond of this API. So let's play around with this. So just this morning they sent me the key. Right? I've become a patron, and they sent me the key. The key they sent it to me, and it's this key. Please do not use it. So let's play around with this API. Right? I'm gonna just copy this. I'll just put it there for a second. And so the API allows you to query this database, this movie database, for either by title, by year, by cast, by director, you can search all sorts of things. And this is the URL for the API. If you don't pass any arguments, it just returns the actual website. Okay, but if you pass query parameters, it actually does searches and allows you to retrieve movie information. Okay, so here's some query parameters that you can pass. You can search just by a search. You can give it the name of a director, the name of a movie, the name of a cast member. You can give it all sorts of things. It'll try to pattern match with its behind the scenes. Okay. So let's try and create a query. Okay, and the query might look something like this. I'm going to copy the API where it goes, right here. Right, and using their documentation, I'm going to use this search by title. So I'm going to use S, and I say S equal Batman. All right. So if I grab that and I come back and I open up a browser window, there it is. So this is coming back with the result set, right? Presumably several movies with the title Batman. We can copy that and maybe open up a JSON viewer, and that's what it looks like, right? So and then you can have here, you can edit, you can search it and look at the peruse through the attributes and the various objects that come back. Right? Notice that there's a collection, an array of elements. There's 10, right? By default, it comes back with 10, the first 10 that match. But it also tells you how many actually match, 323. Right? The API also allows you to do pagination. So, for instance, you can tell it, which page do you want, right? Which actual page? So, and you can calculate how many pages there are if you know the total amount of result sets, right? Of elements in the result. And then you can say, well, jump, ahead so many elements ahead, some results is ahead. So this allows you to retrieve a collection that matches a particular query, right? And the second one that is also very useful is by primary key. Right? In this case, it uses by primary key the same key that IMDb uses, right? The movie database, the Internet Movie Database. And they all start with TT, followed by a unique identifier, right? And in the original query, you could see that each one of these objects, each one of these movies, right, it has the original primary key. See that? So this is a summary result set, right? It gives you the title, the year, the IMDb, the type, and the poster. Right? If you grab the ID of the movie, you can do a further query by providing the I instead, I with the primary key. We put the primary key, it comes back with a single object. Right? And this single object is specifically for that particular movie for that particular ID. So if you display it and then render it, notice that it has more information. It has a plot, it has a list of actors, it has the writers, the director, genre, runtime, ratings, ratings in the IMDb, ratings in Rotten Tomatoes, ratings in the Metacritic. It has more information, right? More detailed information, right? So this API falls into that requirement that I have put on the projects, that you should be able to query for a collection of objects that meet a particular criteria, yes, and you should be able to query then details about a particular element by a primary key, right? So those are the general criteria for the project, and I see most of you have been able to find an API that falls into those category. And then I ask you, well, build a project around this API. Okay, so let's play around with this. Let's actually create something with these APIs. So for this week, I was asking you, create a small proof of concept that indeed you can go and query collections of things and maybe display one particular object, just so that you feel comfortable that indeed you're going to be able to fulfill those requirements for the project, right? So let's do that here so that you get an idea of what is expected. Okay.